As a single mother, how do you prioritize self-care and maintain your own well-being while also caring for your son?
Something I learned relatively early. So I had my son, I got pregnant when I was 29, and all my friends have already had kids. You know, they already doing their thing. So I took a lot of watching what they were doing, you know what I mean? The stuff I liked, stuff I didn't like, and I was like, let's apply that to my own life, right? And then even having real conversations. I remember a mom telling me, like, if you're not okay, your baby won't be okay. And the one thing that stood true for me was I ended up experiencing postpartum depression. So with that, with knowing that and hearing that other moms say, like, take things moment to moment. If you're not okay, your baby won't be okay. When I did have those moments, I made sure I was like, listen, he's just gonna have to cry an extra 5 because I need to be able to breathe. And at this point, I'm learning to just take those breaks, right? If I have plans and they fall through, but he still has a sitter, he's still going with the sitter. Like, he's still gonna go to the sitter because as a mom, as a person, as a human, you need time away from this. You know what I mean? You need time to breathe. And then just defining what self-care looks like for myself, because my self-care might not be everybody else's self-care. Like, some women like to go get their nails done and do that kind of stuff. I don't like doing that. I like to be by myself. You know what I mean? I like to have time to just be by myself, hear nothing, see nothing, and just get my thoughts like in order. You know what I mean? So defining what self-care looked like for me was important, and then understanding that if I wasn't okay, he wouldn't be. So I had to come first in order for him to be cared for the way he needed to be cared for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. It's a very hard lesson, and it's very hard to unlearn because even though I learned that stuff from my friends, you know, and my peers, my mom is old school. So she's like, because he's not okay. And it's like, yeah, he will be though, because you're going to call and ask about him. Nobody's going to really call and ask about me. You know what I mean? They will, but it's the real passive. How you doing? Oh, where Kyrie at? You know what I mean? So it's like, no, if you're not good, he's not going to be good because they're going to call and check on him. They'll come pick him up. Ain't nobody coming to pick you up. Like, you better figure that out. Like, and I had to figure it out, and I'm glad that I did. You know what I mean?
So one tip, figure it out. Nobody's gonna come and
They're
pick
not
you
coming
up,
to pick you
right?
up. They're just not. It's just the truth. It's just the truth of what things are.
So I want to take that back to you too, right? As a mother of a blended family, how do you prioritize yourself and your self-care and your well-being?
Yeah, it's challenging. You know, I grew up in a blended household too because my grandparents raised me, right? So I was kind of used to chaos going on in the house. Like, my grandparents parented so many children that weren't theirs. And I've kind of inherited that characteristic and that value. So to me, I love it, to be honest. I like having a lot of people in the household. Now, with a blended family though, because I'm still learning. It's like, this doesn't stop. You know, you keep parenting your children. So, giving yourself grace for one, and knowing that there is no such thing as a perfect parent, and there is no such thing as perfect children.
True.
So I learned how to pick and choose my battles. I'm still learning that. Like, not every situation needs a reaction, an exaggerated reaction. You know, if the kids are arguing or fighting about something, as long as nobody hurt, nobody bleeding, y'all okay. Bones aren't broken, keep doing your thing. Because I had to get used to, I had a little girl, you know, she was a very chill little girl, very well-mannered, quiet. So now having a brother, now having a son, I'm like, it's chaos in the house. And I was somewhat used to it growing up, but also I'm like, what's that noise? Like, I'm going to, y'all be quiet. I'm like, now it's like, it could be everything going on in the background, kids screaming on top of their lungs, and I'm just like, doing my thing. And that provides a level of just ease for me. So it's just a lot of patience and understanding within yourself. And also, I'm very fortunate. I have, my daughter's father is involved in her life. That's why I said head of household, because I'm not necessarily a single mother, because I have joint shared legal and physical custody with my daughter's father. But when it's just me and her,
it's just
it was just me and her. So I understand the situation that comes with that and the circumstances. But I think one of the biggest things too is understanding that I am a mother, but I'm also Egypt. And I have my own individual goals and hobbies that I want to partake in outside of my children. And that to me is self-care. Like I'm very ambitious. I like to do different things. And I want to have the agency to kind of do that.
Yep.
So I can say that I'm privileged in that I have such a strong village that I don't have to worry about that. Like if I want to go to school, I have a supportive husband. My daughter's father, if I ever need anything, I'd be like, hey, he'd be right there, like, all right, I got you. I can go do what I want to do, pretty much. But having that level of just autonomy is really important to the Egypt, outside of the mom, Egypt.
So this is a question that's not on my notes, right? But listening to both of you, can you speak to how do you arrive at creating a community or a network of people that can support you when you don't have it?
So for me, it started before him, right? Like before I even got pregnant, I was big on like friendship and community, and my friends will tell, like my close friends, they cannot stand it. They're like, you so friendly, you always trying to talk to people. I'm like, y'all some mean people, man. But it's the thing for me, right? Like I just like being around people. I love people. I'm fascinated at how people can get to certain places and thoughts. So that was already a thing for me, right? So once I got pregnant, I wanted to have a child. I wasn't supposed to be able to have them. So when I got pregnant, it was like, okay, so it's game time. We got all these people around us, but now it's time to see who fits this narrative for me. You know what I mean? And that just took me having to have a lot of big girl conversations, a lot of big girl ambitions, and letting people go as needed, and then adding people where they were supposed to be. My family's very supportive. I come from a blended family as well. My dad is still around, but my mom remarried. And that gave us 3 extra siblings, and it was just me and my brother. So it's that, and then we're together all the time. Every Sunday we do, dinner, Christmas we dinner, all the time. So my village was already strong. It was just making sure the family I chose are the ones who I want him to see. You know what I mean? And that was the most important part.
Okay. Any thoughts, sir?
No, I totally agree. I was young when I had my daughter. I was 19 years old and I was very unprepared. So the circumstances around my pregnancy wasn't like wanted. I'll say that to be honest with you. I had my grandfather, my grandparents are very conservative, Christian, apostolic people. So when I got pregnant, there was kind of like, we can send you down south.
Yeah, no, yes, girl. You were gonna get out of here.
But I was fortunate because at least the person that I did choose to have a child with really stepped up and just embodied that fatherhood and something that I never really saw. Now, my grandfather was my father, but my biological father was never in my life. So I did have, like you, an established village of people around me, even in, I guess, the not so wanted circumstances, but I did have it. But my friends, again, I had my daughter when I was just starting out my life. So I was talking to my husband, Dorian, because he's older than I. He had his children and he was married, totally different. And I'm like, he will talk about his college experiences, and I'm like, I didn't have that. Like, I was in college and being a mother, working full-time, having a full-time, job, full-time workload. All I know is being a mother, to be honest with you. That's the only thing that I knew. Motherhood has always been a part of my life. So my friends were doing different things than I was doing. They weren't parents, they were partying, and I'm like, breastfeeding. You know
Right.
what I'm saying? Like, we're two totally different phases in our lives. So my friends, I didn't really have that growing up. While growing up and raising someone, I had to establish my own village of people and network of mothers, literally going out and seeking them in different groups because I didn't have that around me. So I had my family, but my friends looked a bit different.